Hey guys, I want to do a quick video kind of showing you what you can do on the solo lane to kind of push further ahead. I've shown a video of freezing the lane. If you haven't checked that out, I'd highly recommend that. I pretty much double someone's experience in the early game, and you can get a lot of value off of it. But this time I'm going to show you two little tricks about playing to your strengths. When I say playing to your strengths, you understand what your hero does well, and you understand what the enemy laner does well, and you need to abuse those things. For example, Malthael doesn't have a lot of siege. He can't, like, take down structures fast. You don't even need to try for that. But he has a lot of wave clear, and he can bully people that are close to him. Well, Alarak knows this. He's not going to take very long, drawn-out fights. He's going to go for quick, bursty, dealing damage with a WQE, and then back up so he doesn't take any damage from my trait or from my Q. So we're both going to play to our strengths in this game, but I know that Alarak's wave clear is pretty weak. So if I can keep clearing the waves, it gives me a lot of value. I also know that I win in team fights that are really, or one-on-ones where the fights are very close. I also know that I can do camps, so I'm looking at all the strengths that I can do in this game, and I'm going to show you how I utilize all of those strengths in one game in the solo lane to help me win this solo lane. Firstly, Malthael should probably be beating an Alarak in most cases. However, it still doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about all of these things. You should be thinking about all the different areas that you win in and how you utilize those. So the first thing that I'm focusing on is wave clear, to make sure that we're winning these little areas. And again, like, he's going to take these short fights by pulling me in, getting burst damage. My goal is to heal back up and get something out of it. So I'm pretty much just pushing these in so he takes damage from the minions, as well as possibly the minions might get a little bit of damage off on the walls. My goal is, after the objective's up, I want full control over the objective here, but if my team starts losing control bottom, I need to gain value in other areas. So my thought process is, how am I going to gain value in other areas? I need to get camps, but if I get camps, he's going to go and try to kill me at the camps. So I need to get him scared first. So the way that I get him scared is I go and I hide in corners so that I can get the fights that are actually in my area. So I know he thinks that I'm here, so he's going to walk through. He's not going to walk through this way. He's going to walk around this way. So I hide in melee range, get value off, and the way that I like fighting in this way, I end up dying because I wasn't expecting a Stukov to rotate up here. But the way I take these fights is if I hide here, it's easy for me to dodge his Q, it's hard for him to land his W, and he won't get any value off of an E. So I can stay close to him, and it's hard for him to run away. So I get a lot of damage off. We're going to see it in future fights. So again, I'm playing to my strengths and his weaknesses by looking at this scenario. So I instantly tap this so I don't need to worry about the bottom lane getting any value, and I go for the wave clear again. Remember that that's my one thing. Now, he knows that if he wins the lane, he should be rotating, because that's his strength, is by adding picks to his team, by pulling people in, getting kills, and backing up. So his strength is rotating. He can't do camps very quickly, and he can't wave clear very quickly, so he's also playing to his strengths. And this is really what you need to be doing in these scenarios. You need to be playing to your strengths every time. So I grab the rest of this and I go for a camp. And he's afraid to go for this because he knows that there's a chance that I might be hiding right here and he doesn't have his Stukov to help him this time. So he's afraid to actually fight this. So I'm able to take this camp. And now watch how this goes. It's much better for us now that he's too afraid to go around that corner unless he knows that I'm doing a camp or something, which he doesn't always know because I like to hide around that corner. So I grab the rest of this, I mount up, and I head over, and my goal, play to my strengths. I have wave clear, and I'm full health. He can burst me down, but then he's not killing any of these minions. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I go up, I grab the globe up top, and you can see how much value these are getting off of these structures. Now, I can rotate down if I want to, or I could just hide again. If I hide, he's forced to take an unfavorable fight. Now watch this fight here. So look at the healths really quick. So I'm about full health, 90%. He's at about 70%. And again, we get in these fights. Look at this. I'm just blowing him apart. And now he's too afraid. So now he knows he can't, if I go missing, he can't walk on this or else he will die. So he just doesn't do it anymore. And that's where I've already won the lane, because that means I have control over camps. I have control over rotations, because he's always too afraid to go on this thing. That's how you win the solo lane. you need to look at areas where you win. You need to look at areas where he does it again. It's like he knows he's going to lose all of these fights. Like, I out-traded it. We both were full health, and now I'm back to full health, and he's at half health. It's like, it's that easy to play to your strengths. But I know that if we keep fighting these open areas or around his towers, I'm going to lose. So I'm not playing to those strengths. That would be him playing to his strengths. So we're both doing what we need to do. It's just that, like, you need to actually play to it. If you just win a lane, you're not gaining anything from it. You need to win a lane and get more. And that's, I think, the big problem. Whenever I watch people who are playing solo lane, like, they only win their lane. They either lose their lane and do nothing, or they win their lane and do nothing, and they gain nothing out of either of those. You need to understand how to play to your strengths. And the wave clear is what he lacks, so I'm making sure to always do that. I'm making sure to always gain that value. So we win the first objective because he's too afraid to even come over here, and I've already gained the structure advantage too, so he's too afraid to leave the lane because of this other structure advantage. So we win the first one, and I just go through and kind of melt this out. I don't need to win this here. I just need to make sure that we don't lose any structures. So the next couple pushes are pretty big for our team, and I'll kind of show you. The enemies are kind of blowing apart our team, so we're not gaining that much value out of the winning the objective. But that doesn't really matter, because I'll end up taking this and getting a lot more out of it than we expect, because I already got a structure, which gives us experience. So despite the fact that we just died and we were having trouble down a bot lane, I've gained a lot of experience for our team, got us level 10 before the enemies, and I'm waiting for the next objective to spawn. And I go for a camp. Remember, what strengths do I have? Wave clear, right? So now I wouldn't be hiding here anymore because there's nothing that I can get. So he's probably going to be rotating, I'd imagine. Oh, he doesn't even want to rotate. He wants to just get the wave. Interesting. I'm actually surprised he didn't rotate. You got to play to your strengths. His strength is picks. He could survive in the solo lane, but if he doesn't join his team, you lose the whole purpose of having Holorock, which is you can set up kills for your team. So that's pretty surprising that he didn't actually rotate there. But yeah, so I get the camp, and that camp is going to apply so much pressure here, I can do whatever I want to. I'll be able to get this objective for free and possibly rotate down and get a kill. So you get to see, I'm not just adding in my own value. Like, I'm dominating this guy in lane, but I'm not just doing the lane. And I'm also playing to my strengths. If I sat here and auto-attacked, I'm not going to add very much to the team, and I'm likely just going to take way too much free damage from Holorock. So instead, I play to my strengths, I use the wave clear, I push, and I go for a rotation. I have last right, which means if anyone gets low by my team, it's easy for me to just quickly burn him down. You see, I get Gul'dan low, immediately pop my ult, and then what do? Head back top lane, go back up top. I've already done this much damage to a fort at the same time as got to kill bot. He can't win in a small fight like this, and he knows it. So he didn't play to his strengths. I played to my strengths, and we won both top and bottom. Now we make a big risk, and we throw the rest of the game. No, I'm just kidding. But this, we do struggle a little bit here. But that's really what I wanted to share. Look how much value I got by myself. We never won an objective top, and look how much damage we've done to the structure's top. It's more than any objective. Their objective was top, and they've done nothing up here. I never tried to fight him too close to his structures. I never wasted too much time. Every time I had a plan, and I also scared him. I would hide in places where it would give me a favorable fight so that he would always lose the fight and be too afraid to approach because he didn't want to lose those fights anymore. Because he was too afraid to approach, it gave me free time to do camps whenever I wanted to, and those camps gave us value and pressure, which allowed me to gank and help out the other lane. All of these things added together by just playing a couple strengths of the hero that I was playing, and every hero is a little bit different. You need to understand why they're strong. If you're playing Urel, you should understand that you out-heal just about everyone. You do a decent amount of damage, but your wave clear is a little low. So you need to play your strengths. You play her on maps where out-healing their damage is important, like Braxis and Dragonshire, and utilize those to win the lanes. If you're playing against a Dahaka on a map that you don't need to win a point, then you know that he's going to have a global, and you're going to have to do something else on that lane. Play to your strengths. So that's all that I really want to share about that is whenever you play a solo laner, don't just win the lane and sit there. Win the lane, get camps, win the lane, kill other people in the other lanes, gank the other lanes, and then go back, win the lane, apply pressure. That's how you should be doing this with solo lane. Solo lane's one of the better ones to carry with, because if you're dominating in the solo lane, you pretty much have won so much for your team, not just on the experience side, like not just like dominating in that, but you also like win in experience and siege and so many other areas. That is just really, really nice. You see my hero damage isn't actually very high at all. Olorok's out hero damaging me. It's more just the fact that I've applied so much pressure this game that's allowed us to win so much more than anything else. So that's essentially what you want to do in the solo lane to really dominate. But if you haven't watched my video about freezing lanes, I highly recommend checking that out, because that's another solo lane tactic that you can do to really push the experience further. It doesn't work on every map. I actually don't really like doing it on this map too much, just because you need to be around here, and zoning the enemy from experience can be rough because they can always just swing over and tag it. So it could be a little bit weird. But if you're on a map like I like to do it on Towers of Doom, because it's a really long lane and there's nothing else to do. So you can really deny people a lot of experience. It's also not something that you usually want to do with a high wave clear hero, because Malthael naturally needs to wave clear to push. But if you're playing someone like Yrel, who you could just sit on the other side of it, out heal their damage, and zone them away from experience, you could really deny a lot of experience. It's something that he possibly could have done, but he would have had to outplay me a lot to be able to do it. So it's something that you need to, again, I've said it 100 times this game. You can take a shot every time that I say it. Play to your strengths and abuse those. And don't waste time on areas you don't have strengths. If you don't have a lot of wave clear, don't just sit there and wave clear all day. Utilize things. Like you could see at the beginning, he knew he didn't have a lot of wave clear, so he went down bottom lane to get picks. The problem is he didn't do it too often. He only did it once, didn't get picks, and assumed, I can't do that again. But if he would have done it at random times, he would have been able to dominate our team. So utilize those things and learn from it. But yeah, feel free to check out my other videos, and as always, really appreciate subscribes.